This is the CTV television network.
We'll hang the band from the Liberty Tree.
Thanks for the oranges, Mayor Bradley.
And Highway to Heaven, tonight at 8. Tonight, a special edition of McGowan's World.
CFCF, Channel 12 Television, Montreal.
Choose Channel 12, Montreal.
The following program is a color presentation on TV 12.
That's how we identified ourselves over the past 25 years. This week, CFCF Television is celebrating its silver anniversary. Hello, I'm Don McGowan. Welcome to our special show saluting 25 years of broadcasting in Montreal. In January 1961, we were the new kid on the block in television. Our very first studios were on Laurier Avenue in an old theater and dance hall. In a special section, the Montreal Star announced Channel 12's opening. Our broadcast day began at 4 p.m. In the early days in our first newsroom, we didn't mind sharing a typewriter in cramped quarters, and they called this showbiz. On opening day, January 20th, 1961, this is how we greeted our viewers.
Another roasting off another show. 4 weeks you rehearsed and rehearsed. 3 weeks and it couldn't be worse. 1 week, will it ever be right? Then out of the hat, it's that big first night. The overture is the sound start. You cross your fingers and hold your heart. It's curtain time and away we go. Another opening, just another opening of another show.
Cole Porter would be proud. Our beginnings were as fresh as our young faces, our enthusiasm unrelenting to the new challenge upon us. And where are those members of the alumni today?
Before we forget, next week is Minor Hockey Week in Canada.
Brian McFarlane was our first sports director. For the past 21 years, he has been host and color commentator on Hockey Night in Canada.
Because we were working in that studio on Laurier Avenue over the dance hall downstairs and the music coming up through the floors, and we were rehearsing that show and rehearsing it endlessly. And for some reason, we couldn't edit videotape in those days, so we were taping the show. And if we made a mistake after 20 minutes in, we stopped and everybody regrouped and we started over again. And we must have done that 50 times.
For Montreal, a low expected tonight of 7 below, a high of 5.
Our first weather person, Marge Anthony, came to us from the Maritimes. Today, she is Vice President of Network Relations for CTV.
In New Brunswick, I learned a very important thing. I joked about the weather a lot, and I would come in at the last minute and make up the highs and the lows once I knew how to do all those little symbols, and it wasn't important to me until I had a phone call once from a lady whose husband was a fisherman, and I had not reported a storm in the bay or something, and they had problems. And all of a sudden, it hit me that this is not a joke. This is real, and people look at television for the weather, and you better know what you're talking about.
Well, good evening and welcome to the first edition of Sunset Theater.
With the cuckoo clock over his shoulder, viewers tuned in movie host Jack Curran for his nightly Sunset Theater.
And one night, somebody forgot to turn the cuckoo off. And Walter Herring was on the air doing his political comment, approaching 11 o'clock, and ours was not exactly on time. So just as he's about to make his big point, he is interrupted by 11 live cuckoos from our cuckoo clock. And people are laughing so hard in the studio that nobody has the foresight to go over and turn it off. The cameramen lock their cameras and go out in the hall and laugh. And poor Walter Herring is left on camera with the cuckoo going 11 times, and nobody to this day knows what his point was.
In 1961, the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin of the Soviet Union, orbited the Earth once. A new landmark in Montreal was being built, Place Ville Marie. And what else were we doing then?
We watched Elvis in Hawaii and twisted the night away. Henry Mancini wins an Oscar for Moon River. Audrey was nominated, but Sophia won the top prize. An Oscar and stardom for Rita Moreno. These film faces were top grossers. And our mayor is thinking of 1967. In the United States, a new frontier.
That the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Michael J. Fox was born in '61. So was Fred Flintstone. The Trans-Canada Highway was taking shape. Tulsa's Peter Daniels reports.
Work proceeding on the final 2 miles to be built. The road will be officially open all the way to St. Charles Road, Christmas 1963.
In 1961, we had never heard of the Beatles or a Big Mac. In that first year, while we were broadcasting from Laurier Avenue, construction was underway to build our present studios in Montreal's North End.
Stuart Finlayson, president of the Canadian Marconi Company, and Sarto Fournier, mayor of Montreal, conducted the groundbreaking ceremony. In March 1960, Marconi was granted a license by the Board of Broadcast Governors to operate a television station on Channel 12 in Montreal, with transmitter and tower on Mount Royal. We have had 3 owners, Marconi, multiple access controlled by the Bronfman interests, and today the buck stops on the desk of Jean Pouliot, president and owner of CFCF Incorporated. In place atop our new studios, the CFCF neon column became a well-known Montreal beacon. The building was opened officially on May 19, 1961. The plaque reading, "This building is dedicated to serve the community through broadcasting."
Coming up next, Dick Irvin's sports highlights from 25 years ago. But first, here's how Maxwell House and Clearasil sold their products to television viewers in 1961.
Big coffee news from Instant Maxwell House. From the finest blend of coffee beans, Instant Maxwell House now captures the perfect moment of fresh roasted flavor and aroma by a new exclusive process called Roaster Guard. You see, air robs fresh roasted coffee of flavor and aroma. But the new Roaster Guard process actually guards Instant Maxwell House from air, shuts it out within minutes of roasting, retains that perfect coffee flavor and aroma.
When a blemish appears and you're nearly in tears, when a faulty complexion is sheer frustration.
Be a Clearasil girl, a pretty Clearasil girl. Be a clean, trim beauty with clear skin. Beauty feels pretty.
Feel pretty again. Take our advice if you want to look nice. Take the right direction to a clear complexion.
Be a Clearasil girl, a pretty Clearasil girl. Be a clean, trim beauty with clear skin. Beauty feels pretty.
As a faithful viewer and one-time employee, I'd like to wish Channel 12 CFCF the very best on your silver anniversary.
Greetings from the senior services here at CFCF Radio. A very happy birthday from all of us here at AM 60 and CFQR. Happy birthday, CFCF TV.
Channel 12 is a favorite in my brasserie, so happy birthday to Channel 12.
As a longtime star of the Canadians, the Pocket Rocket averaged a point a game back in 1961. That same year, a young accountant from Shell Oil walked into CFCF looking for a sports reporting job. He soon became our sports director. His name, Dick Irvin.
Western-born, Dick brought his father's famous hockey name to television. Known for his meticulous preparation and enthusiasm, from hockey to golf and the Olympics, Dick is among the best in Canada.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dick Irvin.
New station comes on the air. I remember rushing home from work to make sure I saw the opening of the new station. And the second week the station was on the air, lo and behold, I was invited up as a guest Brian McFarland invited me to be a guest on a show called Sportsman's Club. Talked about my dad, brought his scrapbook. It was minor hockey week, and I was coaching minor hockey. And I guess he couldn't shut me up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to a Pinbuster show from now until the next 60 minutes, bringing you the very best in bowling from the teenagers of Montreal.
That's right, Tom, and there's 3 categories here. We start them below teenagers. We start them 10 years old, 10 to 12.
Dick has also worked as a quizmaster on a program he created with producer Ralph Mellenby.
And now, here is the host of Know Your Sport, Dick Irvin.
Well, thank you very much, Jack Curran and audience, and welcome to the game we've been waiting for a long time, the Grand Championship on Know Your Sport.
The thing that I think my most lasting impression of my beginnings here, the fact that here's Jimmy Tapp, here's Brian McFarland, here's Art Leonard, Dean Kay, Jack Curran. These fellows are professionals. In no way did they ever treat me as like what I really was, somebody who walked in off the street. They treated me as one of the gang from day one. I don't know if 25 years from now, people who are working here will look back to this era with the kind of memories we have of the early 60s. And it was so much fun then that I was hooked, and I'm still here.
There are some sports events from 1961 we will remember forever. Here's Dick with a review of the highlights from that year.
In 1961, the Chicago Blackhawks were the Stanley Cup champions, and that hasn't happened since. When we showed hockey highlights on Pulse Sports, they looked like this. At the time, we thought it was pretty good. Our own Channel 12 cameras covered games at the Forum and got shots of things like Toronto's Eddie Shack fighting with the Canadians' Tom Johnson. Hockey personalities interviewed included Phil Watson and the Canadians' young forward, Bobby Rousseau. The Alouettes, not the Expos, worked out as Jari Parks. Leo Cahill was an assistant coach. Perry Moss was the head coach. Stateside, Y.A. Tittle was quarterbacking the New York Giants, and the big team was the mighty Green Bay Packers of the Vince Lombardi era. The first film shot for Pulse Sports was a wrestling card at the Forum, starring Johnny Rougeau. We covered boxing, including a fight between George Chuvalo and Robert Clerroux. Late that year, Archie Moore came to town to meet Clerroux, but the fight was canceled because of a lack of interest. Floyd Patterson was the heavyweight champion. The man he defeated was Ingemar Johansson. Rod Laver was the world's best tennis player, and he never threw a temper tantrum. Arnold Palmer was everyone's favorite golfer, and we agonized when Arnie blew a chance to defend his Masters championship. He had to put the winner's coat on Gary Player. Sandy Koufax of the Dodgers was baseball's #1 pitcher, but the big story in baseball and in all of sport was Roger Maris hitting 61 in 61, his 61st home run, topping Babe Ruth's all-time record. And what's Wayne Gretzky doing here? He was born 6 days after Channel 12 went on the air.
Over the years, programs have come and gone, but one tradition continues every night at 6 o'clock. Pulse.
What started 25 years ago is being maintained today at CFCF. A strong emphasis on information programming, beginning with Pulse News. Our first anchormen were Art Leonard and Dean Kay.
The 35th United States President is in office. An unprecedented rush of business at the Montreal Air Terminal.
On the national scene, Pulse News covers every important event.
Pulse News has established CFCF as a vital part of the life of Montreal. For many viewers, Pulse News is CFCF television, and a generation of Quebecers has grown up with names like Andrew Marquis and Bill Hoagland. Interviewing a flagpole sitter was an early assignment for a young Mike Donegan.
What exactly happened on September 14th, and who is to blame for it? This is Mike Donegan reporting.
Grayer and wiser, Mike is our news director today. His predecessor was Bert Cannings, hard-working, often provocative.
Now this comes from Kenny Wong of No Given Address. He says, I am presently attending Iola High, and I am strongly nationalistic. Don't you feel that you're adding fuel to the fire of French-English relations by shutting one out to accommodate the other? And I say, I don't think so, Kenny.
I have done some reporting that has been, and ways of reporting that have been a little out of whack. I used to get in everybody's hair. I would criticize Drapeau or Bourassa or any of them. It didn't matter who they were. If they did something, I would go after them. You have to go back to the old saying, whether they like you or hate you, as long as they listen and watch, who cares?
Bert may not agree, but most of us know the really important part of our newscast is the weather presentation.
In 25 years, we have gone from chalk to pen and ink to computer-enhanced graphics.
drops keep falling on my head. Cloudy, the sky is gray and white and cloudy. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Coming up next, some homegrown talent featuring a magician, a jelly bean named Johnny, and Pajama Patty. But first, these important messages, circa 1961, from Duncan Hines and Molson Golden.
Another inn visited by the man who has discovered flavor secrets everywhere. Duncan Hines, America's authority on good eating. Today, a lifetime of flavor discoveries are yours in the greatest cakes ever. Deluxe cake mixes, inspired by Duncan Hines.
Mild and mellow as moonlight, yet fresh and cool and lively, too. A sense of pure pleasure. That's Molson's Golden Ale. Only Molson's Golden Ale gives you that golden feeling, the satisfaction that comes from pleasure fulfilled. There's a clear golden sparkle, a cool, refreshing feeling.
Sparkling white, bright as gold, happy are the hands that hold the Molson's Golden Ale.
On behalf of every member of the Montreal Canadian organization, happy anniversary to CFCF.
As someone who's paid to watch television, I'd like to wish happy anniversary to CFCF 12, a station I'd watch for free on some nights.
Well, I've been watching CF 12 for 25 years. And I've been a faithful viewer who's enjoyed it a great deal.
This medium has added a new word to the vocabulary, telegenic. Our Prime Minister has plenty of that. Indeed, CFCF has created its own telegenic celebrities, personalities who became very popular with our viewers. Some became institutions.
Now, here's your host for Surprise Party, Magic Tom.
Each day, Magic Tom Auburn talked to his young friends on the long-running Surprise Party. The children's comments were often a surprise to Tom. Plenty of fun and magic candy, too.
I must be almost in fourth generation, and if I live another 10 or 15 years, I'll be in fifth generation. Well, it's magic. You just do it. So far, so good.
Children rushed home from school to have lunch with Johnny Jellybean, played by Ted Ziegler. It was zany. Later, Ted teamed up with Peter Cullen as the Buddies.
I think so because it was a spontaneous character. You know, we had spontaneity going for us. We didn't get negative response. Not that there weren't phone calls of complaint when I hit the squawk box or something like that, and then somebody say, well, their child hit the radio. But I always made disclaimers and always said, this is a special thing, and I even showed the inside to show that it wasn't a piece of mechanical equipment of any kind, you know.
Montreal teenagers danced to the latest hits Saturday afternoons on Like Young, Not a Blue Jean in Sight. Hosts were June Mack and Jim McKenna.
This next one might confuse you a wee bit, but let's see what you think of this one. It's called Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. This is Dolly. It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
Let's find out. Will it be a hit?
Okay, will this record be a miss?
When CFCF signed on, Jimmy Tapp was already an established Montreal personality with his Tap Room show on the CBC. Jimmy has done it all well.
Well, bonsoir, mes amis, and welcome. This is Carte Blanche, where we hope to bring you the sights and the sounds of our swinging metropolis. And in addition to giving away a lot of prizes, we have a lot of fun here on Akin to Win every day, Monday through Friday on Channel 12. May we invite you to join us by your watching machine then every evening at 6 p.m. for Akin to Win. Good night.
To put you in the mood for watching movies on a mattress, Pajama Patty dressed for the occasion.
Hi. Glad you dropped in. I hope you make a point of watching Pajama Playhouse every evening, Monday through Friday.
Some of those clothes that I wore, they were almost like evening gowns. They were so beautiful. It was like going, when I went over to pick the stuff to wear, It's like going into a sort of an Aladdin's cave of women's negligees and underwear and stuff like that. I used to think of it as being there to keep someone company, you know, as they were watching the movies late at night. That they weren't all alone, that kind of thing.
Good night, Ruth. Good night, Patty. Popular on Montreal radio, Jack Curran brought his many talents to CFCF television, the perfect medium for his versatility. Easygoing Jack is the host of our travel show.
What excited me about it was the opportunity to be on television as me. For the first time, to go on and find out if I could interview people, if I could be interesting enough for people to want to watch, and a chance to do the thing I like best, and that's sit on television and interview people and do like a daily talk show and that kind of thing. To me, that was the exciting part of those days in TV, especially when they were live.
CFCF's head carpenter, Bill Brown, built our early sets and ended up on television himself, known nationally as Mr. Chips. His hapless helper shall remain nameless.
I was surprised every time they renewed, like, you know, it was something. I figured the day it stops at the end of it. I could have quit the carpenter job and went all out for it. But, no, I figured when this is done, this is just something, you know, come with the wind and can go with the wind. Well, remember the time you and I did a job, we made a little shelter that was on the wall, and it fell down. But I think they left it in and let it go like that to show that these things can happen. Some of the stuff, you know, we nailed and glued it so much, it would take a fire to get it apart, you know? Wow, you know, I look at the stuff, wow. They weren't actually chip and dale, they were more crash and nail and bang and nail, you know? Boy, I'll tell you.
Part of CFCF Television's responsibility to the community is our commitment to keep viewers informed through public affairs programs. And in times of need, we have responded swiftly.
In 1964 in LaSalle, an explosion left hundreds homeless. Channel 12 responded with a telethon to aid those affected. We have held blood donor clinics, Montrealers giving the gift of life on television. Expo 67. Our cameras were there all summer long. We have counted the votes on every election day. Broadcast journalism has brought us many awards. The annual Telethon of Stars, research dollars to help sick children. Millions raised.
On January 20th, 1961, I watched the opening of CFCF Television at Channel 8 in Cornwall. Anxious to get back to my hometown, I arrived on the scene squeaky clean with a tube of Brill cream in my hand.
During the past centennial summer in Canada, it was my great pleasure.
I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. McGowan, and the station.
Hello again, I'm Don McGowan with Mr. Chips and Bill. I think today our project has wide appeal. And what kind of wood will you be using? Pine. Good day, everyone. Very happy to introduce Mr. Guy Martin.
Sorry.
With the challenger, enter and sign in, please.
Like Jerome Choquette and Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he's just another Outremont boy who made good.
You don't usually see me on this channel, but I'm here to wish CFCF a happy birthday from all of us on CBC6. That's the People's Network.
A very happy birthday to CFCF Television, Channel 12, on behalf of the Quebec government. Joyeux 25e anniversaire.
In fact, I like CFCF so much that one time we even bought the station.
And thank you, Charles, for all those signed checks. In 1961, our first show in late afternoons was Carte Blanche. We signed off each night with Pajama Playhouse at midnight. In between, we shot 'em up, traveled the blacktop, and had a little romance along the way. So what did Kooky, Donna, and a hound all have in common? Hit American shows.
Crime fighters in the big city rated highly in 1961. In the suburbs, situation comedies had a certain innocence, pristine almost. Sex, drugs, and bigotry were taboo subjects.
The Donna Reed Show.
Cartoons made it into prime time. One of the most popular shows was named For a Highway. And there was always a getaway.
Hey, you guys, wait a minute!
Sergeant Hawk speaking. Oui, mon capitaine.
Any patrolman who doesn't look familiar, ask him for his credentials.
It's busy. What's that? Lunch? Sure.
A walk before lunch certainly works up an appetite, eh, Dean?
Anyhow, Opie, anyhow. Do I have to eat the salad? No, but you should. Why? Because vegetables make you grow.
There are 8 million stories in the naked city. This has been one of them.
As we look ahead in our 26th year, our facilities at 405 Ogilvy Avenue are growing. The multi-million-dollar expansion is almost complete. Our new broadcasting center will house high-tech studios for AM 60 and CFQR FM, new facilities for our cable company, CF Cable, and our production arm, Champlain Productions. In the fall of 1986, CFCF will welcome a new kid on the block, our sister station, 4 Saisons, Channel 35, Montreal's second French-language private television station. More than 700 men and women are employed here, working together under one banner, CFCF Incorporated. Well, there's only one thing left to do. Someone has to sing Happy Birthday. I cannot do it alone. To help us celebrate 25 years, here is one of the brightest lights on the Canadian music scene, Montreal's Jubilation Gospel Choir.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, CFCF. Happy birthday to you.
It's also happy birthday to you, because as a viewer, you've been a part of our 25-year history. On behalf of everyone at CFCF Television, thank you. And let's do it again on the 50th. Good night.
Stay tuned now for The Flying Nun, next in view on TV 12.